Hey, it's Don Williams with today's episode of the Proven Entrepreneur Show. I have a real treat, maybe my favorite Nebraskan,
Ooh.
even though I may have said that to like 100 other Nebraskans,
Yeah.
but Julie really is my favorite. My very good friend from Omaha, Nebraska today, where I'm sure it's colder than heck.
It is.
And it's about 80 here in Fort Worth, Texas today. And so, Julie Hockney, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I've really been looking forward to this.
My pleasure. So let's now we know each other. Okay. So
Yeah.
you might be a strange guest, but you're not a stranger guest, if you know what I mean.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And we know each other through our association with EO, or Entrepreneurs Organization.
Correct.
Okay. And I think you're currently El Presidente.
El Presidente, the first female president ever for Nebraska. And I am
awesome.
proud to represent that. It means a lot to me.
Yeah, you should be.
Uh-huh.
I'm proud of you too.
Thank you.
Okay. And like all positions of leadership, like all teams, okay, whether it's the Kansas City Chiefs, which is going to grace the field here in a day or two.
Here we go.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say they're probably fan favorites in Omaha.
With our geography, that's
it's
about
not
all we
that
got.
far. And I was born and raised in Kansas, so I've been a Chiefs fan way back when Lenny Dawson was the quarterback, when they won the Super Bowl the other time.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And so that's coming up. That's going to be great. Tell me this. Tell me one. No, I lost my train of thought there. So we know each other through EO. You're the
Nebraska.
first female president in the Nebraska chapter. And like in all leadership, my personal opinion, 20% of leaders are really high performers, 20% of leaders are low performers, and 60% are somewhere in the middle. Okay. And I happen to know, independent of you would never tell me this, but I happen to know that you're a very high performing leader. And so,
wow. Well, thank you.
Thank you for your service and your leadership.
Thank you. Means a lot.
Yes, ma'am. All right. So tell me, I think you own, to be on the show, you have to be an entrepreneur. Okay. And you have to be a proven entrepreneur.
That's right.
Yeah. And so I think you own a business, or maybe two. Tell me about your businesses.
Yeah. So I own JH Interior Design, and we are a full service interior design. We're the firm in Omaha, and now Steamboat, Colorado. And I talk real entrepreneur. I mean, real entrepreneurs, there's a lot of them, but I started in my basement when my daughter was 8 weeks old, and we just hired our 23rd employee this month.
Congratulations.
So it is, thank you. It has been so, and I like to say that not just as like a drop a number, but it gives me like a reflection moment when I phrase it that way, because it just has been an incredible journey and very grassroots, very slow, it wasn't like started overnight. Everything was in place, like open the doors, they'll come. It was like one paint deck, one notepad, one client, go buy a printer. And so JH Interior Design was born along with my daughter in 2007. And then I also own Bouquet Floral Studio, which is a fun separate story I could tell, but it was an offshoot of interiors, because the floral aspect, if you look at a great finished photography of, say, a kitchen or a home, you'll often see floral in it. And I knew that our photos needed that when I started to build a portfolio. And so I would just be like, well, we need these centerpieces. And people are like, what? And I was like, I'll just make it. Here we are. We did 97 weddings last year, and we are the top florist in Omaha. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'd rather be boiled in oil than deal with 97 weddings.
You would.
I would.
Not for the faint of heart. I mean, imagine the brides moms, the grooms, the event planners, the weather. I mean, all the perishable products, like the emotions. It's an insane industry.
I was already in awe, but I'm just telling you, I can't even wrap my mind around 97 brides, bride moms, wedding parties. We had a little event here in Fort Worth, and roses are kind of my thing.
Right.
Like
yeah.
Most of the time I speak, most of the time I facilitate, because of my Romancing Your Customer book, the logo's a rose. I give roses. I give away a lot of I give away a lot of thousands of roses a year.
Yeah.
Okay. And sometimes, and like at that event where we bought 600 roses, the guys would look at me like, why do I need this rose?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you have no game at all. You
Huh?
hold the rose next to your face, smile, which just means show your teeth, dude. Okay. Take a selfie, send it home to the missus and say, I'm thinking of you. I was like,
so easy.
I'm like, I have real game. That's just like a little bit of game. But I can't tell you how many people came up to me the next day and said, man, that really worked. And you're like, oh my gosh, you guys are slow.
Yeah. Come on, get with it. So you get it.
Yeah. So we may be brother and sister on the floral thing, even though I'm not dealing with no brides, zero brides. Okay. So I want to take you all the way back to little Julie. 5 years old, pigtails, ponytails, whatever it was, 5 to 18, you're living in your family home, whatever that looked like. Some people lived with one parent, some two, some with their grandparents, some wherever. Was there an adult in your childhood home that was an entrepreneur?
There was.
Really? Who was it?
It was my stepdad.
Your stepdad. What did he do?
And crazy enough, both the homes I grew up in, entrepreneurs. And it took me a long time to reflect on this. My dad and stepdad, entrepreneurs. One started and still owns a phenomenal real estate company. They're both in real estate. The other one has gone between real estate, private aviation, public service, and then back to real estate. And nature and nurture, I was wired and watched both.
That's awesome. So many times a child raised in a home, and you in two homes with two entrepreneurs. Okay. The kitchen table is many times the boardroom table. And so they hear things, they see things, they rub up against things that other children just don't do.
Interesting.
And so it's not as big a stretch to kind of clear that mental hurdle of, hey, I'm a brand new mom. I have an 8-week-old baby, and I'm going to go down to my basement. I'm going to start a business. Because normal people don't do that, Julie.
They don't, do they?
No, normal people don't.
I thought maybe I was abnormal. This really solidifies it. Thanks.
I think it's better. The better wording is unique and gifted. Abnormal kind of sounds bad. Okay, so you did have entrepreneurial influence as a young girl. Okay, tell me about your first job, which it might have been a company. Your job might have been a lemonade stand in Omaha. I don't know. But the first time that you traded effort for money.
Okay.
What was that?
So I could go career into college first job, or I could go like as a kid job. Do you have a
preference?
Let's
go with, we're going to get both, but let's start with the very first time.
Okay. So I was a bus girl.
Okay.
Because that was the only job they could give me at 14. Because my parents said, you will get a job. Don't care what it is, but you'll get a job. And pick somewhere close to home because we have to drive you. I said, okay. I have since done the same to my kids.
And let me ask you, are you born and raised in Omaha?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Born and raised, went away for a while, came back.
Yeah. So I'm born and raised in Wichita. And I can remember I might have been 11, 10, probably 10. And my dad said, what are you going to do this summer? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to ride my bike and play baseball and do what I do. And he's like, but what are you going to do for work? I'm like,
work?
I don't know. And so I painted our home.
Wow.
I wouldn't say I was
inside or outside?
Oh no, outside. I was like,
okay.
Because I wouldn't say I was a great painter. But I could put paint on a surface, and so I painted the house.
Wow.
And then which I did not get paid. He still owes me, Dad. If you're listening, I did not get paid. He didn't promise. He didn't promise, baby. But I didn't get paid. And then my first paying job, I drove tractor at wheat harvest for my grandfather, and I was 11.
Wow.
And so work ethic is certainly part of the mix.
Huge.
Part of the mix. Okay, so we're leaving 17, 18-year-old Julie in the dust, and you joined the Merchant Marine. You hiked across Spain. You went to university. What'd you do?
University. Okay. I was a Jayhawk. So here's our Kansas connection.
Oh my God.
I am a Jayhawk.
Love that.
I got out of here and I said, I am leaving the state. I want to find the biggest school, close as I can, far enough that maybe I can't get home, but if I needed to, but I don't want, anyone coming to see me. My parents really probably wouldn't have anyway, just because I was very independent and that's how they raised me. So I went to KU and I studied music education. And I was a music teacher. And it's fun now looking back that entrepreneurial spirit was in me, but I haven't now gone back to pinpoint it. And I keep taking it further back. Like when I had the bus girl job, I was like, shouldn't we reorganize all the cups? And because I can't get it fast enough to the to-goes and the trip. And they're like, well, we've always had it this way. I'm like, but I think it can be better. Little things like that. Like I'm now just reflecting, like, how far back did this entrepreneur spirit start? And so I, in my student teaching, 5th year, so it's a 5-year program, you go to be a student teacher. And you maybe know some of these schools because you know Kansas, but we'd go meet with our advisor and they'd say, all right, where do you want to do your student teaching? There's a beautiful new school, Blue Valley North. There's just Olathe, beautiful. There's da-da-da. And they're like, they go fast, so get in there. And I was like, well, what else do you have? If everyone's doing that, what else do I got? And they said, well, there is this school that's in the inner city. It's really rough. It's in Kansas City, Kansas. Nobody wants to go there. And I said, sign me up. I wanted the challenge. I wanted to, I think, have that, like, you write your destiny and you can get in and kind of make something your own. And that it started so early on for me, but I didn't know at the time that's what was happening. I just thought, again, I was a school teacher. Wasn't everybody just go to inner city and shake up the music program? And no, I guess they don't.
Yeah, no, they probably don't. But, problem solving, which is basically what you're talking about. Hey, I was a problem solver, and not just, maybe there wasn't even a problem, just an improvement.
Yeah.
I just see a way to make this better.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't understand why you're not letting me make it better.
Yeah.
Okay. I know it. You know it. You know that I know it. Let me do it. And
let me do it. Let's just get in there and do it.
Sometimes that doesn't happen. Well, I'm so impressed that you went all the way from Omaha to Lawrence, Kansas, which is about 4 blocks.
Yep.
No, it's not.
3 hours and 15 minutes.
Okay. 3 hours and 15 minutes if you drive the speed limit, 2 hours and
car.
30 minutes if you drive like I do. And then the topography of Lawrence, Kansas looks a lot like the topography of Omaha. There's about 3 strands of barbed wire between there and Canada that blows the Canadian wind in the wintertime. And so, but they obviously have a stellar music program, and they have been known to play some basketball.
And they won when I was there, which was amazing.
Yeah, great. So, one of the storied basketball programs in the NCAA, obviously. Okay, so we graduated. We got our degree in music appreciation. We go to the inner city of Kansas City, Kansas, which would be like the inner city of any major Philadelphia, New York City, whatever. Yeah. And so there's some challenges in education there. Okay. How long were you a teacher?
About 2.5 years.
Okay. Wasn't perfectly fulfilled teaching.
No.
I have a little sister. She got her degree in education at Colorado. She went to Kansas State. She graduated from Colorado State. Okay. And she made it about a year before she was frustrated with public education. And
it was hard. And I think I realized too, it was confining. As entrepreneurs, we want the freedom of, hey, I want to work 100 hours or 2, or I want to work from this city or that. I was being told what, building to go to at what time every day and barely have a lunch break. And I was like, this feels like I want to write my own story a little more here. This feels very figured out and boring, but I loved the kids. I loved the teaching.
My little sister found the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't get to teach what I want, how I want. And like everything is prescribed, and hats off to teachers. We need great teachers. Okay, we don't need bad teachers, but we do need great teachers, and there's certainly some out there. So hats off to them. Okay, so went to Kansas City, Kansas, 2.5 years.
Yep.
Then you hitchhiked across Spain?
Kind of. But
Okay.
instead, do you know
Do
what
tell.
I did? I jumped on my boyfriend's tour bus and moved to Nashville.
Wow.
And let me tell you, my parents were thrilled.
I'm thinking
After they
they
just
weren't
finished
really.
that 5-year education, and I had that degree. But again, I think I was like, ooh, a way out. Ooh, like a new, like a fresh, like we're always like, ooh, jump to that. You know, it's that like, I don't want to get comfortable in one thing because I felt so stagnant and I wasn't being utilized. So when I saw that, I was with my boyfriend or fiance at the time, I think his band, they were a Christian rock band. And I'm listening to them talking about we're buying this tour bus and we're helping figure out the payments. And I'm so excited. And they're moving to Nashville. And I was like, who's going to run the band? And I mean, they didn't pause for a half a second. I was like, I'll do it.
I love it.
So I'm the tour manager, right? I'm like, I got a binder. I got, MapQuest at the time. We didn't have anything like I'm printing out MapQuest and we're flying down the highway and we'd get set out, plug the power, do the sound check. And I was like, well, who's going to run the soundboard? And they're like, well, we just jump back and forth between like the bass player. And I was like, I'll do it. So I get behind the soundboard. I mean, there are, I don't know if you've ever seen a soundboard. There's a million tiny buttons.
Yeah.
I figured it out. I loved it. Like, I loved like mastering it and then kind of moving on. Like that was the fun part for me. And I felt like I was helping. And then shut the lights down. I'd go out front and I'd sell the t-shirts and CDs back when we bought CDs. And I remember, I think I was creating sales goals for myself. Like nobody was even telling me how to do this. And so I sat the band down one night. I was like, hey guys, because there was a lot of us were either dating, married to, engaged to these guys. We were all kind of at the end of college and we were friends and couples. It was awesome. And I said, hey guys, I'm trying to sell a couple more CDs and shirts and stuff here. Will you not tell, because we played a lot of colleges and a lot of junior high girls like goo over these band guys. I said, will you not tell these girls that we're like together? Because sales really go down when you do that. And they're like, wait, you don't want us to say that like you're our fiance? I was like, no, because I can't sell as many CDs because they think you're cute and they'll buy more. So just treat me like the help, okay? I'm trying to sell CDs.
Oh, I love that. So
that was that.
So I want to emphasize a couple points. One, you like doing new things, which sometimes in entrepreneur land, we call that oh shiny disease.
Oh, yeah.
And it goes along with our thirst for learning. We're insatiable learners, but we're also insatiable. Oh, that looks fun.
Opportunities, right? Oh, that's fun.
And sometimes really to rock and roll, we got to put our blinders on a little bit and not allow those things to come in. And then I think this, my main business, I help people sell more of whatever they sell.
Right.
And not just a little bit, but let's blow it up. And so I love that. It makes my heart go pitter patter. Don't tell them I'm your fiance. Just
please.
Let me make some sales here, man. I got to sell something. I don't feel good if I don't sell something.
Like, come on.
Yeah, I totally get that. Okay.
Yeah.
So then after Nashville, and I have a couple of friends here, and I should introduce you next time you're down.
Mm-hmm.
One that had a very popular Christian band, David Cannington, and David left the band right before they had massive success.
Wow.
And he's very accomplished entrepreneur, and don't feel bad for him. Okay. But he did leave the band. He too had a fiance who he married. Now they have a bunch of children. And he didn't feel like that life was conducive to his family life. And so love that. All right. So you do that for a while and somehow you get back to Omaha. What's up? How'd that work?
So great segue. You kind of made your own segue. I was starting to think about, 170 shows a year on the road. We're not making friends. We're not making roots. I feel like we'd mail our rent check in. It was.
We don't live there.
Right. And again, probably the Julie pattern of like 2-3 years, like, okay, that was awesome. But like, what's the next chapter? I was feeling this tug to go back to my original love, which was interior design, which I loved in high school. And it was unfulfilled, unsettled to me. I also was like, well, I'm not going to sell t-shirts forever. Right. And I I think my new husband was like, why not? That was tough. That was a hard time for us because it was kind of one of these, well, you want to maybe do this forever. And I think I'm kind of done. So it was a tough time for us, but we figured it out. We navigated. I went back to school in Nashville and I said, let me test this soul feeling I'm having of design. And I signed up for some classes and I came home. I was like, it's there. This is it. I said, my teacher tried to hire me. It's like, I love this. I love it, love it, love it. I have to do it. I said, like, you love music. I love design. Again, didn't know I was an entrepreneur at the time. So we moved back to Omaha and he still kind of commuted and traveled with the band. It was rough. It was a little messy. We were doing our best to respect each other's paths that we were on. Accept what you do, right? And I went to work at a small firm and that was kind of where I started cutting my teeth in design.
I love that. And so,
yeah.
I don't know. So I think everybody's an artist. And some people's art is computer programming. And some people's art is interior design. And some people, my art is words. I talk and I write. And I think we do our absolute best work, our purpose work, our mission, life mission work when we are in our art.
Art. I like that.
And so even the people that think, I'm the engineers, I am not an artist. I'm like, oh, you are so an artist.
Yeah. They think art is paint. They think art is, playing the violin. They think art is a sculpture. Yes.
Yeah. And I don't know if you know this about me, but my wife is an artist. My wife is my wife worked in fashion forever and decorates and floral and is a very accomplished painter.
Wow.
And I'm just lucky to be invited to the party because I'm not sure how I got here, but I'm staying.
You're here.
I'm staying. I had a good friend who used to tell his wife, if you ever leave me, just know I'm going with you. And I shared the same thing. If you go.
I've never heard that and I love it. I'm going to use that.
Yeah. If you ever leave me, just know I'm going with you.
I'll be right there with you. So just let me know.
That's it. Okay. So, all right. In JH Design, how long have you had the company?
Since 2007. So let's do a little math.
Yeah, you told me that. Sorry.
18 years.
Okay. Almost. So, tough question. Is there a hard moment? And I know there were hard moments. You don't make it 17 years without there being some brutal moment. Do you have a hard moment you can share that maybe at that time it was just soul crushing, devastating, it hurt. But today, looking, maybe it turned out to be the very best thing that could happen to you. So
that's a great question.
I'm looking for a hard moment, and hopefully that turned out for the best. And they don't all turn out for the best. I'm a 38-year entrepreneur, founded a dozen companies. Wow. I can tell you
a lot of hard moments,
things that were brutal. Okay.
I'm hard on myself about this one. So we do our best to find people who we trust and share the vision. And I always was so flattered that they'd want to work at our firm. Like I always was very humbled by probably not realizing at the time how great our culture was, all the things, part of that imposter syndrome kicks in, like, wow, you want to work for me? Like, I don't even know what I'm doing. So we were at some real growth moments, and I went out and recruited and found what I thought was a great asset to the team. Really built her up, hired her, paid her well, and it was bad. It was really hard on the rest of the team. And I really blamed myself. And I was so down about it. I was like, how could I do this? And then how do I fix it? And what's the example I'm showing? And it was months of just like stomach aches. And I was like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. I can't find the right people. I don't know how to, and then looking back, what we went through and how we grew as a team and the example it showed to those A players when that person was left, in a weird way, it was worth it. because it raised the bar for the type of people we want to have. But I was really hard on myself on that. I still, to this day, feel like, wow, the time we wasted or the people I upset. But it's for the better.
I love that. Thank you for sharing it. It
Yeah.
brings two thoughts to mind. One, it's always the who.
Mm.
We think it's the what. It's rare. Sometimes I guess it is, but rarely. It's almost always the right people will get the right things done, even if they don't know how to begin with. And the wrong people, they won't get it done. And then the other side is that if you as an entrepreneur listening today and you're going through something really, just know that the good stuff is on the other side of the tough stuff. So keep going.
It's so true. It's so true.
Just keep going. Okay. And I've been there. Julie's been there, done that, where it's like, oh my gosh, why am I doing this? Surely I should go back to teaching music. Okay. But just keep going. The good stuff is on the other side.
Yes.
Of the
and
tough.
I like to say, trust the journey.
Trust the journey.
Part of the journey. Sometimes you're like, remember my dad came in to say hi once. He's like, oh, I'd give anything to be back in these days. And I was like, really? Do you know what I dealt with today? Do you know we barely made payroll and we got this and we have an unhappy client and our IT can't. And he's like, trust me, you will look back on this and be like, what was the fun part? We were building it and we were on our toes and we were pivoting and problem solving. It makes me tear up just thinking about it, but he's so right. That is like the fun part, the journey, the highs and the lows.
Well, so many people that are not part of the entrepreneurial world kind of have this view that entrepreneurs, it's all about, it's a profit motive. It's all about the money.
Yeah.
And the reality is that's just a piece of the equation.
Yeah.
It's really just how you keep score.
I was going to say, it's really just what kind of keeps paying the bills and keeps the doors going.
Yeah, it's really, to me, it's just like the scoreboard for the Super Bowl. Yeah. It's like, did we win or did we lose? That's the deal. But but the intricacy of strangers, prospects, customers, staff, contract, to me, it's always on the people side. Okay. And I love the people side. I get people to handle the non-people side because that frustrates me. I don't like dealing with that. The people side, and to me, the people side is where all the magic is.
For sure.
The who.
For sure. It is the who. The who gets me out of bed every day.
There you go.
The notes I've saved in my file have nothing to do with profitability and KPIs. The notes I have saved were the personal notes of thanks and gratitude and life-changing moments, and that's what I hang on to.
Me too. You're a sister from another mister. Okay. Now I want to ask you about a warp speed moment. So sometime in your business when things were going pretty good, okay, they were okay. We're not on the ropes. Okay. We're not breathing a brown paper bag. Life is pretty calm. Okay. But all of a sudden, pardon me, a hire or a new piece of strategy or maybe an economic condition out of your control, as entrepreneurs, we tend to disregard those, but there's no doubt you can't, you can't overcome things out of your control. Okay. But a warp speed moment, things are going along okay. And then all of a sudden one thing, and I get that hockey stick growth, things really accelerate. Do you have something like that you can share?
Totally. And you're going to love this. And it actually was one of those horrible, but then growth moments with both companies combined. So Bouquet, as we were talking about, did the 97 weddings last year. Well, there all of a sudden was a time when people weren't getting together in 2020.
Yeah.
And we had 35 weddings cancel overnight. Big ones. And we were an event-based company. Yeah. So we pivoted. I said, no one's leaving. We'll find something to do. We did some video classes. We delivered flower kits to doorsteps. My son was in here helping us make flowers by Bobby. I mean, these poor kids, as you know, they've been through it all. And meanwhile, I get a call from some other Omaha entrepreneurs that built a neighborhood, one of which was my brother, and we're going crazy because nobody could get together. I mean, they built a whole business on people getting together. And they said, we are going to Steamboat, Colorado for the day. You want to go? I was like, sure. Another theme, I think, in entrepreneurs, sometimes you just say yes, even though you have no idea what you're doing or why. What's the worst that can happen? So I go, they said, we want your design eye to look at these investment properties and really help us pick something to invest in the mountains. I said, okay. Did it, picked the house. I said, this is the one. They're like, that's the grandma house. I said, trust me, I got this. Love this. Look past the grandma. 4 families bought the house. We were one of them. I went up there about 8 or 9 times, almost as again, personal project. Like, I'm going to figure this out by myself. I have no idea what I'm doing. Met the painters, met the tile guys. And I look around this amazing city and I'm watching people flock there from the coast. And I'm like, there are not enough designers here. So we put all the chips, I always say, in the middle of the table. We had a business that was 30 weddings down. We had COVID. I said, we're opening an office here, we're buying a building. We have 3 full-time designers there. And it's been amazing to watch. And it started from a horrible situation.
Yeah.
But we maximized at a good time and just leveraged it and took a lot of risk. And the growth we're watching it come to fruition, and it's so cool.
I love that. So let me share with you Dawn's concept of yes. Okay. And I share this with every client. All progress, all human progress starts with yes.
Yes.
From the beginning of time, all progress starts with yes. Now, catastrophe is sometimes avoided with a no.
True.
Progress doesn't follow no. Progress follows yes. And so many times I have clients that someone wants to buy something from them that they don't actually do. And my counsel is always say, yes, we'll figure it out.
Yep.
It's so much easier to sell people what they want to buy, what they want to buy, than it is to sell them what you want them to buy. And that sounds really simple, but sometimes the biggest things are really simple.
I need to remember that one.
I love that. Progress starts with yes. Okay, so if I could look into your mind and I had access to everything that you know, I'm looking for one golden nugget about life, your family, your business, something that you view as absolute treasure, some piece of wisdom.
Ooh, piece of wisdom. Now you're putting me on the spot, but I like it. I would just say, and I do want entrepreneurs to hear this, and maybe especially women, trust your gut. And I think we get really, really bombarded with personality tests, opinions. We're going to do this assessment, and you're trying to be this, and you're trying to be that. And when when you're talking about how you're wired, and your gifts, and you believe that each day you're grateful to wake up, if you can use those gifts and you're secure in that, then go. Trust that gut and go, because so many times I'd second guess, oh, that's kind of bold. I shouldn't say that, but I know the answer. Or I don't know if I should tell them that because it's not what they're wanting to hear, but I know it's the right thing to do. And I wish earlier I would have been a little bolder and trust my gut and just go. Not regretting anything. It's just reflecting. I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs, maybe especially women, can use to hear that.
I love that. And it's like you're reading from the book of Dawn. I worded it a little different, but to me, we're intellectual beings. We're also intuitive and instinctual beings. And most of what education teaches us is to be here.
Totally.
Most of what education, and I'm not disregarding that, and I think you have to use that, but I will say this: if you're going to live in your art, if you're going to live in your gift, it's in your heart.
Yeah.
Probably not in your head.
Yep.
Okay.
Head
And
gets in the way sometimes.
a lot of times,
Yeah.
that's where you have the doubt. That's where you have the fear. That's where you wonder, as a kid, you could fly, you could do anything. Okay.
Yeah.
And connecting at that intuitive and instinctual level, and just, one thing I share with my clients is this: it's less about doing than it is about being. Okay.
Love
I can
that.
give you the 42 steps to go do, won't make any difference if you're not being who you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
All the world will love the real you and have no time for a false you. Maybe not all the world, even
Maybe.
every once
I
in a while
mean, the smart ones.
Yeah. Yeah. There you
Hey,
go.
I will tell you, you just triggered something in my mind, but one of my absolute favorite quotes right now is be where your feet are. Because I think this helps us do the first thing I was talking about. And society, I feel, really pushes us to overanalyze the past and worry about the future. Be where you are today. Just use your gifts and be in today. And it's so much more fulfilling.
I love that. Psychologists know, live in the past, flirt with depression, live in the future, flirt with anxiety. The only place to live is the present. And that doesn't mean don't plan, and that doesn't mean don't reflect, but you can't live in the past or in the future. Okay. Humans aren't designed to do that. Okay. So love that. All right. Okay. Toughest question I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
All right. I never tell anybody this one's coming.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So I'm going to put you in a time machine. I'm going to send you all the way back, just like Star Wars or Star Trek. And I'm going to introduce you to 20-year-old Julie. I'll be like, today, Julie, meet 20-year-old Julie. Okay. 20-year-old Dawn had more hair, and it was a different color. Okay. But 20-year-old Julie, meet today, Julie. And you have like 60 seconds to share whatever you think would be the wisest share for today, Julie, to gift 20-year-old Julie. So something you know now you didn't know then. I've given you a long time to think about it.
Long time. I've actually written a whole answer in my head now.
There you go. I put you in the time machine. Doodle-doodle-doo.
Yeah.
Today, Julie, meet
Today,
20-year-old Julie. What do you got?
Today, Julie would say to 20-year-old Julie, which actually I just saw a picture the other day. Cracks me up because I'm thinking about I look like I was 12 when I was 20. Today, Julie would tell 20-year-old Julie, you know what you're doing. Just do it and be yourself. It's not, you don't have to please everyone around you. I grew up fast and I felt it was my job to take care of everyone. You know what you're doing. Just do it. And you don't have to just please everyone around you.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. Wise words. Okay. So, Julie, if somebody wanted to reach out to you that saw or listened to the podcast, what's the easiest way to get in touch with you?
Awesome. I honestly prefer an email. They can go to our website and look at stuff. But Julie at jhddesignomaha.com, because we also have JH Design Steamboat. So Julie at jhddesignomaha.com is my email. And I would love that. I love meeting new people.
Awesome. Love that. Okay. Well, I want to thank you so much. I'm so grateful that you came on the show today and shared your heart and your head.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Don. I was really excited about this. So thank you for having me. I was honored.
My pleasure. Yeah. Folks, that's today's episode of the Proven Entrepreneur Show. We'll see you next time. Thanks.